You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios, and we are also brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors. If you are just joining us, we have a lot of topics to talk to today. One is a national organization that's called the National Homeowners Advocate Group that is trying to rally people around the state to say that legislatures need to stop HOAs from being able to foreclose on members for non-payment of dues. Is that a good idea? But we have with us now someone who is on the line from Florida. There's a story that we've been tracking. This is from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. It is from the Tamarack Homeowners Association. They have new association amendments that the board says is designed to improve the quality of the neighborhood, but some homeowners say that the rules are too restrictive and leave the association open to lawsuits. And with us on the phone this morning is Ted Galatis. And Ted is a real estate attorney practicing law in Florida since 1983 under Ted Galatis, PA, and is also the city commissioner for Wilton Manors, located in Broward County. Good morning, Ted.
Yeah, good morning, Gene.
Thanks for joining us and taking a few minutes here to let us know what's going on here. We read this story with some interest. Could you kind of capsulize here for our listeners? What was it that the Tamarack Homeowners Association tried to do in their governing documents?
Well, I had a call from a reporter, Mike D'Oliveira, with the Florida Sun Sentinel 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was writing an article about the Boulevards of Tamarack Homeowners Association. They had or were attempting to approve a new set of bylaws which they claimed were designed to improve the quality of the neighborhood. But the reporter's concern was that they went a little too far in allowing the association to turn down a potential buyer or renter without giving any reason whatsoever.
Yeah. So the it said that it was a vote of 33 to 27. The new laws give the association the power to approve or disapprove prospective buyers and renters. And I think probably rightfully so, a number of homeowners are kind of upset about this.
Yeah, it impairs their ability to market their properties, and traditionally the courts have upheld an association's right to approve or disapprove a buyer, but the courts have said that the association has to give or articulate some reason for the denial. In this particular instance, the bylaws say that the association does not need to give a reason. And in my opinion, the association is simply inviting lawsuits from a potential renter or buyer, because by not articulating a valid reason, it leaves everything open to suspicion that maybe it's some sort of discriminatory behavior.
Sure. Well, fair housing laws are very specific, both nationally and I think state by state. There are protected classes of people, and if you are not very careful about how you word things, you can easily be accused of discrimination.
I used to I chaired the Human Rights Board for Broward County, and we used to hear a lot of cases involving housing issues where tenants would file complaints with the Human Rights Board alleging discrimination. So it behooves the associations to give a reason. Look, if they do a credit check and they find that the potential renter or buyer has previous foreclosures, previous evictions, bounced checks, that they don't have the financial wherewithal, then certainly the association has a right to ban or prevent that transfer. But the issue being they have to give some reason.
Yeah.
One of the things I found interesting, Ted, was that they also state in this amendment too that it says that it also grants the association immunity from liability for disapproval.
Well, they protected themselves.
So there you go.
Yeah,
there you have
they're
it.
trying to protect themselves, but again, you can say all day long that you're immune from liability, and
sure.
But it's not worth the paper it's written on, because the courts have routinely held that if the association was discriminating, then they're liable.
Yeah.
And who gets hurt would be all the homeowners, because it's their dues that are paying the judgments.
Yes.
Oh yeah, all of that's going to be picked up in a special assessment. Now, you said you've listened to a number of accusations of discrimination.
Yeah.
Would it be your assessment too that there are a number of cases that are brought up where the person probably truly did not mean anything to be discriminatory, but because of how something was worded, because of how something was perceived, it was something that was counted against that person?
Yeah, I heard cases, in instances where an individual perceived that they were being discriminated against, but the association was able to come back and show objective basis for denying that person. Sure. Obviously, some people will use the race card, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
They'll try to make it appear as though they're being discriminated against, but in fact, the association had valid reasons for denying them.
There was one other interesting point here that was something that they had crafted together, and this had to do with when the association or board was going to disapprove of a buyer or a renter, and it says here that it says if the association disapproves a sale, it has to furnish another buyer who will purchase the property at fair market value. I mean, how realistic is that?
Well, it's like a right of first refusal.
Sure.
Once a seller presents a buyer to the association through an approval process, the association, in most instances, has a right of first refusal. That is, they can say to the seller, we don't approve of that buyer, we will pay you the contract price, whatever it is. And that protects the association in some sense, that then they can control who lives there. And oftentimes, associations these days, with all the non-payment and defaults in maintenance fees, they're acquiring their units back. Yeah. And they're putting them back on the market. And, of course, they take it subject to whatever mortgages there are on the property.
But they may not have the wherewithal to really withstand a good number of units and taking them back and buying them like that. Because
I'm expecting you're going to see a lot of failures.
Yeah.
And the lenders. I mean, the lenders are nervous about lending on condominium units now, especially where you have a high percentage of out-of-town owners or renters. They're concerned that the association is not going to be able to maintain its insurance coverages, windstorm hazard, and if they can't pay those bills, then how are they able to maintain the association? They can't.
Good point. Well, Ted, I know that you just had a few minutes to be with us, and I really appreciate you taking the time to call in the show and share your thoughts on this subject. Thanks for joining us today.
Gene, thank you.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. You guys have a good day.
Okay,
thanks, Ted. I want to mention something. In my experience, homeowners associations generally, at least in the state of Minnesota, do not have a good understanding of fair housing law. In rental management, this is just pounded into us constantly because we have to be very careful not to discriminate or to even give the appearance of discrimination. But time and time again, when we've talked to homeowners associations about this, they think fair housing has nothing to do with them.
You're right. I think that's a very good point. It's not on their radar at all.
No, it isn't.
And it should be, because they are now in a different position than they were before. They're not just a homeowner. If you are a board member, you have a fiduciary responsibility to the association, And you have you open up the association for liability if you start making certain claims.
Sure. So I would really recommend to all homeowners associations, somebody on the board needs to get educated about fair housing.
Yeah. Well, this whole issue of whether or not renters can be allowed and on what grounds and what do you do to try and have a good mix. It's a big topic. Associations are trying to do a lot of different things to try and get that perfect balance. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be on the phone with our good friend Dan Greenstein from Bernick Lifson, who's going to share with us something that he had drafted not too long ago to help an association in that area. We'll be talking with attorney Dan Greenstein after these messages.